Hey guys, so this is another one I did today. She wanted, her only request was, I'd like some grey, please. So I hope you enjoy these. So this is Salon Redesign, so I filed down her previous set of nails to a really thin base. So that's what some of the colours are, a bit of glitter from the old set. Don't worry, there's nothing wrong with the nails, I've just filed down to a very clear base. So I'm going to start on the index finger and I'm going to create a crisp smile line. So I'm using CJP Cherry Blossom and I'm taking a bit of liquid out the back of the bead and then I'm placing in the centre where I want my smile line, and then I'm using the tip of my brush just to create a nice crisp smile line there. Then I'm coming in with a second bead and I'm not taking any liquid out of this because I want a nice blend, blending it gently forwards. And then I'm going to come in with my final bead. And for this I'm using CJP Negligee. So I start at the cuticle area and this is where I then create that nice apex. I use a transparent pink over the cover pink because then you get a slightly more natural look and a more blended look at the cuticle area. And while I'm leaving that to set, I'm going to open up my stone and my buttermilk because these I'm going to use to marble. So on the pinky and the index finger I'm just going to put a very thin clear base underneath. I don't really need to do this because both of these colour powders are strength powders, but I always like to do a clear so it's easier to file down. So the pickup is 1, 2, 3, so I do the first 2 strokes in the lightest colour, third in the darker colour, and then I place on the nail and then I use the tip of my brush just to swirl it round, gently push to the cuticle and then do the same with the second bead. You don't want to pull at these beads too much because you want to keep that marbling, so it's more of a gentle pat into place. Don't worry if it looks a bit lumpy because I'll then cap this in clear so that when I file it, it's all going to end up nice and smooth. And then I'm just going to open some of my limited edition glitters. So these are from the 50 Shades of Grey collection, and I've got the Mr. Grey, Superfine and Mix. So again, putting a clear base down, then I'm using the Mr. Grey Superfine at the tip of this nail, placing at the tip and then gently just nudging up and then blending up. And then using a small bead of clear acrylic into the Mr. Grey mix, and then placing it by the cuticle and then pulling it down so you get a nice blend between the two. It's a really nice holographic shine in this Mr. Grey mix. Really catches the light, it's very pretty. And then we're going to the pointer finger, and again 1, 2 in buttermilk, 3 in stone, place on the nail and then use the tip of my brush just to swirl it round, gently push into the cuticle and into the sidewalls, a little blend, and then on to the next bead. Again, you don't want to pull and blend this too much because you'll lose that marbled effect. And then same with the second bead, so try and just pat into place more than anything. Pat and nudge, don't stroke. And then third bead, just letting that fine a bit. And again, often when I do marbling, it does look a little lumpy, but don't worry. If you cap it in clear and then when you file it through, it'll all be fine. So I'm now using my crystal glass and I'm just capping these nails in clear. And sometimes they can look a little bulky, but what I'm trying to do is just even out the shape of the nail so that when I file it, it'll all be nice and smooth. And then I'm capping that glitter. The reason I leave the glitter before I cap it is just gives it a chance to set into place so that when you then cap it, you're not dragging any of that glitter, it stays where you want it. Making sure all the glitter goes nice and matte as I'm capping it so that I know it's all been capped, and when I file it, I'm not going to cut into that glitter. And then capping the fourth finger as well. And then I finished with those glitters, so I'm just going to put them away. Finished with the colours, so I'm going to pop them away too. I'm going to need the grey in a minute, but I'm just getting them out of the way, putting the lids on. And then using my file to push against the acrylic, not down onto the tip, I'm pushing against the acrylic, just to file a nice crisp smile line in there. Using my duster brush, and then I'm using that stone. This is a strength powder, so it doesn't need to be capped, so I'm going in and I'm just going to use that, taking it right in the centre, up into the wings, and then forward. Don't worry if you're going over that line, because when you file through you'll get a nice crisp smile line as you file. Just patting into place there. And then I'll leave those to set, all ready to file. So usual filing technique, sidewall, free edge, cuticle area, and then the bulk of the nail. Just checking it from all angles, making sure I'm happy. And then moving along to the next nail. And I do that for all of the nails. So sidewall, free edge, cuticle area, rest of the nail. Making sure I look at it from all angles to make sure I'm happy with the shape and the apex, and making sure I'm happy with how that's coming out. And as you can see, as you're filing that smile line, it comes through nice and crisp, so you don't need to worry if you go over at all, and that's why you filed that in, to make sure you have that nice crisp wall. And that's all finished, using my duster brush, my plush brush from NSI, and then using my brushy bit just to make sure I've got all the dust out from around the cuticle area and on those nails, so they're nice and smooth, ready to go on to any nail art I want to do. Okay, so I was requested for a bit of stamping, so I'm going to use my Moyu plate in the Doodles collection. It's plate number 13, and I'm going to use a black and white stamping polish. For this I'm using the Moyu polish, but you can use any, as long as it's a highly pigmented polish, so something that with one coat would do full coverage. You can use anything like that, and I'm just dotting on the black and the white, scraping across one way, scraping across the other way, then using my kaleidoscope stamper to pick that up, and then using that to look through the centre and then place on the nail. Don't worry, it looks a bit messy, but that will be tidied up later. So just make sure that nothing's sticking in around the cuticle, and then I'm going to come in with my CJP LED top coat, and I'm just going to put one coat on there, and then I'm going to cure in my LED lamp for 30 seconds. I want to do a part cure of this to make sure that the second coat sticks and adheres correctly. While that's in there, I'm just using some acetone-free nail polish remover to clean off my plate. That also often leaves it'll be clean, but it looks a bit smeared, so then I use my NSI Gel Cleanse to wipe over as well, so that leaves the plate nice and shiny, and then that goes back in my wallet. Whenever you clean off your stampers, remember to wipe them on a lint-free cloth, a lint-free roller, so like a little sticky tape, rather than using any kind of chemicals on there. Okay, so now I'm going to top coat all of the nails. So that means the stamping gets the second coat and all the other ones only need one coat. So I'm going over that marbled nail, over the crisp tip, and then over the glitter nail as well. This is always my favourite bit. It's what my ladies call the reveal, because they finally get to see the glitter in all its shining beauty. And as you can see, this glitter has got a beautiful holographic shine to it. And then that will go in the lamp, and that will be 60 seconds cure LED. And just using a bit of acetone-free polish remover to get rid of any of that nail varnish from around the cuticle area. And my video failed to film when I put the Swarovskis on, but I just used a little bit of Polybond, and then I butted my top coat up to that while I was top coating. So I'm putting a bit of natural oil on, and there you go, there are the finished nails. So here are the salon redesign I did today. This was for my lady who had requested grey with a little bit of stamping. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please just pop them below. And if there's any requests of anything you'd like to see me do, pop that below as well. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook and Instagram for lots of updates. And thank you very much for tuning in. Bye.